There is an animal overpopulation problem in Los Angeles. Many of these animals end up in the shelters. Some of these will be adopted or rescued, but unfortunately, many of the animals that end up in the shelter system do not come out alive. In a city where there are no rescue groups and few people willing to adopt, the prospects are much more bleak for shelter animals. Shelters like the one in California City suffer from understaffing, lack of funding, and lack of resources. People like kitten rescue volunteer Julie Joseph strive to help these shelters by pulling out the adoptable animals and bringing them into the rescue system.
My name is Joellen Downs. I work for the California City Police Department as an animal control officer. I'm the only animal control officer in this city, and then I have 2 shelter attendants that work with me. California City is a small city located close to Mojave. It's 200 square miles, but our population is only 13,000. We are a lot of bare desert. We have a prison here that has been a big part of our economic growth, but it's closing now, so we have a big problem with people having to sign over their dogs to us and their cats, and they just can't afford to keep them. They're losing their houses.
I'm here to find help with my dog.
For your dog,
Yes.
Okay. What I need you to do is sign this release. This just signs a dog over to me. You're a good old boy, aren't you? I love you. You're a good boy. We'll do everything we can to try to send him to a rescue. But in case he can't be placed, I have to have you sign this side, and this is a euthanasia request. A couple years ago, almost every animal that came through the door was euthanized. Since we've been working closely with Julie and the different rescues that she works with, I bet it's less than 10% now. One of the big things we rely on are the rescues that we work with. We work with Julie Joseph as our transport for these rescues. And we rely heavily on her to get the animals out of here. She takes probably 90% of our animals.
Why do I come to California City? Because nobody else comes here. 99% of people don't even know exists. I transport dogs from this area, which their adoption rate is almost nothing, and they have almost no chance, and you get a lot of purebred animals in here and really nice dogs. I transport them to different rescues. Other shelters have a lot of rescues that are willing to go in there and help them, where this one, nobody really wants to come here. We just started spaying and neutering, which has made I think it's made a big difference. You know, in a small town, when you get 20 people on a list every month, I mean, it'll make a huge difference in the long run, and it's not like the people haven't stopped calling.
She picks them up, and then we meet back here when they get done, and everybody comes and picks them up. And it seems to be working really well, and every month we have a whole load to go. And we have people like Mr. Carlos that was just in here, come in here. He is the 3rd one today that has brought his animals in, just signed them over because of the prison closing right now. That's the issue right now. A few weeks ago it was the Honda plant closing. Because we are desert, a lot of times I think people bring dogs out here and dump them off in the desert. Just they can't afford to keep them and don't know what to do, so they just release them. You can't believe the number of dogs we pick up right out here around the shelter. Before Julie was involved, most of our animals were euthanized. And since we have Julie, now almost everything goes to rescue. Julie she doesn't believe me, but she is our hero. She's our guardian angel. She is.
With the help of rescuers such as Julie Joseph, we can help get the animals out of the shelter system alive. But there are plenty more animals that are outside the shelter system who also need our help.
There are a lot of feral cats on the streets of Los Angeles, feral and homeless, so that would include stray, and no one really knows for sure. It's estimated anywhere from 1 million to maybe even 4 million.
I have trapped several cats in this area. Van Nuys Boulevard, Sepulveda, Big Lots, every nook and cranny. So this is my trapping stomping grounds. If we didn't trap here, it was already becoming a problem because people were very annoyed with the cats, and that puts them at a very dangerous predicament because they could do bad things to the cats, or if enough cats become a nuisance, animal control would probably come trap them and euthanize them all.
Hi, let's have a good life.
The biggest misconception about trapping is that people are afraid it's somehow going to hurt the cats. It's only going to help the cats. It's the very best thing you can do, because at the very best, you can trap them and they're not feral and we're able to give them a home. At the very worst, you trap them, you fix them, you put them back, and not only are they fixed, but they have their shots, they have their flea treatment, they have their deworming, and they're just so much more relaxed. All they got to do then is worry about food and shelter. No more fighting, which then they can get the FIV and the leukemia and the spraying, and they're not as much of a nuisance, and then people aren't as annoyed, and then they're safer, and it's better overall for everybody. And now what's going to happen that we have our little mommy cat is she's going to go with me tonight in my nice, safe, cool, comfy garage. She's going to stay in her trap, and then in the morning we're going to wake up bright and early and go to Fix Nation.
My name is Kitten, and I'm a volunteer with Kitten Rescue, and I also work at Fix Nation Clinic. Fix Nation Clinic is a free spay-neuter clinic for homeless, stray, and feral cats, and we also provide low-cost spay-neuter for tame companion cats. Jasmine's kitty will be checked in. She will be anesthetized. She'll be scanned for a microchip and weighed. Then she will receive a feline distemper combo vaccine, a rabies vaccine. She'll get a dose of Revolution for fleas, mange, and as well as for worms. Then she will go through surgery and get spayed. She'll be ear tipped, and then she will also receive fluids, pain medication, and an antibiotic. And then she will start to recover. And then once she's fully recovered, we'll call Jasmine and she'll go home and then be adopted. A free spay-neuter clinic for ferals and homeless cats is really necessary, because if the services aren't free, the general public most likely are not going to be able to fix the cats. So keeping the services free is really important. We also have a free trap loan program. So we will not only do the spay-neuter and vaccine services for free, but we also loan out humane cat traps for free to the general public. So we basically provide them all the tools they need to be able to take care of the homeless cats in their community. Fix Nation actually hit a milestone last month. We broke 50,000 cats fixed to date. I hope and I believe that spaying 50,000 cats in Los Angeles has contributed positively to pet overpopulation. We're doing a lot of cats, feral as well as homeless and stray. So hopefully the work that we're doing every single day here is making a difference, positive difference to the community.
Owner surrender is one of the biggest problems we face. Some of the animals who are surrendered end up on the streets. Some of them end up in the shelters, and some of them we get as a result of a direct rescue. Kitten Rescue is contacted on a daily basis by owners who are no longer able to take care of their animals. We not only get calls and emails, but we're also forced to take in these pets when they're left outside our adoption venues, or when we hear about an injured animal who needs our help to survive.
This is Willow. We've had her since January. I've been volunteering with Kitten Rescue for about 3 years and have, before Willow, only done cat rescue. Kitten Rescue had got an email from someone who had gone to one of our fur balls in the past. She had gotten an email from a friend of hers who had witnessed this hit and run. This woman saw a dog get hit by a Suburban and then take off. She called 911. They dispatched animal control. While she was waiting for animal control, a woman and a little girl showed up on the scene. At first they were saying that the dog was theirs, and then when animal control showed up, they changed their story and said that this wasn't their dog. But the animal control officer recognized her and had already been to their house a couple of times already because they let the dog run around without a leash. Basically, the woman who witnessed the hit and run knew that nothing was going to go well in this with animal control and this woman, so she scooped the dog up and drove her to a vet and asked them to help her because the dog couldn't walk. She couldn't use either of her back legs. The first assessment of Willow's injuries was that she had a bruised lung, a fractured pelvis, fractured hips, and a luxation, which is like a rotating of the way that the legs are supposed to turn. And we knew right away that she was going to need pretty extensive orthopedic surgery to fix her. Ryan and I decided that we were going to foster Willow, and I took her to the vet who had treated her first for her first medical checkup. We were going to schedule her surgery, and when they did the initial x-rays before the surgery, they discovered that she also had fractured vertebrae. For about 2 months, she had to be completely stabilized so that she couldn't move. She couldn't bend this part of her body, so she was in this full body cast. And after about 2 months of that, they figured out that the vertebrae had healed all right.
Well, when we first got Willow, she was like a beaten animal. You know what I mean? She was tired. She was
broken. She just laid in that cage. She had to live in a pen for about 2 months.
She wasn't allowed to jump or run or do anything like that for a long time. So you could tell she wanted to.
As you can tell, she's completely healed, and there are no ill effects of this accident whatsoever.
The moment I met her, she just licked my face, and I knew that she was going to be the sweetest animal.
There are a lot of owner surrenders. There are a lot of people who find themselves in situations where they can't take care of their pets anymore. They've lost their jobs, homes have been foreclosed. Anything can happen in a person's life which renders them unable to take care of their pet, and not having any county no-kill shelters to take their animals to, they contact the rescue groups because they don't want to see anything happen to these pets that they've loved. You know, Willow ended up being an owner surrender essentially because while I feel they were irresponsible owners, they could not pay for the surgery that she needed. So a lot of these incredibly adoptable and wonderful animals end up in the system, and it's really hard to find a place for them. It's hard to find foster homes for them. It's really hard to find adopters for adult animals. When I saw that email, I realized, you know, I can't just pick and choose who's going to get saved.
Why does Kitten Rescue exist? Kitten Rescue exists to fulfill the need felt by the animals that have been abandoned, who have lost their homes, or who never had a home to call their own. Kitten Rescue also exists because there are volunteers willing to spend their time, money, and energy to help these animals in need.